What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Chef. We are back, and you already know what time it is. It is time for episode number 40 of the YAK pod. Now, we have a lighthearted show to get to today after a couple of not so lighthearted shows the last couple of days. But we're going to talk about Alim McNeil's appearance on the Green Light podcast with Chris Long. He has some interesting things to say, and we're going to break down those things right here and now. But before we get to that, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that little button down below. Smash the like button as well. Turn on your notifications. Share with your people, because this gets the algorithm on my side. And if you are enjoying this content, you really want the algorithm on my side, as do I. Now let's go ahead and get to it. Alim McNeil was on the Green Light podcast with Chris Long, and he had some interesting things to say about his own body transformation, about Aidan Hutchinson, about the offensive line of the Detroit Lions. He also talked about Hendon Hooker, and he talked about Jared Goff, and he also talked about the rivalry. He talked about the rivalry and the NFC North and what he thinks about those things. Some of the clips we will play for you here, and some of these things we will just talk about off the cuff. Now, let's talk about the body transformation. If you didn't know, Alim McNeil was about 6'1", playing running back. He was 6'1", 292, playing running back in high school. I used to be a cornerback. That dude was not getting tackled. If I saw a man that was 6'1", 290 coming through the hole, I'm making a business decision right there, as many of them probably did. He said he felt like he was back in Pop Warner playing running back at that size in high school. And that was kind of what prompted him to get back to the body transformation. We know he went through a body transformation. He got down a lot of body fat and all these things so that he could be on the field. And the reason he said that, it was because in high school, he felt very athletic. He just felt like he could do everything. So he said the reason behind getting into this body transformation was because he knew how he could play football. He knew what the things that he could do. So he said he needed to really just focus on losing the weight, transforming the body so that he could get back to that. Because being on the football field for 3 downs more consistently, being able to get in his stance 60, 70 times a game is now something that he's able to do because he went through that body transformation. And obviously that is going to help him continue to rack up sacks and get to the quarterback, and also be agile in the run game. So those things were very, very important to see. The next thing he talked about Aidan Hutchinson, and we're going to go ahead and play the clip about what he had to say about Aidan Hutchinson.
And that sort of thing. What was the first thing you noticed about Aidan, your first impression when he walked in there, 2 years ago, and kind of he just rolled, it seemed like.
Bruh, you couldn't have told me Eddie came out of college. Like, really? You would have just thought he came from another NFL team. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. I can't lie to you. The first time I ever was on the field with him, practice with him, like a real practice, it was just that. Like, he just got straight to it. And he hasn't stopped ever since. I've never seen nothing like it in my life. I can't lie. He came to practice that first practice and got straight to it.
Yeah.
That's all he works. That's all he do is work.
Yeah.
Work. And it rubs off on everybody else too. Everybody else feels that energy. Everybody else is, hey, let's get some work in. Let's do extra stuff after practice. Da, 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 da.
So as you can see, it said that Aidan Hutchinson has been a dog since day one. He's been a beast. He's just going to practice and gotten straight to work. And he would later on go and talk about how the effect it has on everyone on the defensive line. He said now you have Josh Pascal pushing people. You have John Comiskey pushing people. He said really John Comiskey is the guy. The commish is the guy in the defensive line room. So that's another situation where we look at, okay, a lot of people thought, well, John Comiskey had a bad season. He probably should get cut. We'll save $4.5 million, yada, yada, yada. But that wasn't really the case. That wasn't the mindset. Again, we have to look at this regime and understand culture. Culture is a big thing in this regime. Culture is a big part of this team. So if a person is a culture fit, if a person has a role, maybe on the field, their play could take a step down, just a small step. Obviously, if you are just utter garbage, you're not going to remain on the team. And we saw some of that this offseason. Some people were let go that were not brought back. And I'm not going to mention any names. They are no longer here. I'm not going to sling mud. But if your play is of value and you have value within the locker room, you have value within the culture, you're probably going to stick around, whether it is that you have to take a pay cut or whether it is that you are a star player and your play is going up and up and up. They're going to find a way to keep you here because you mean so much to this team on and off the field. So that was something that I thought was pretty cool that he talked about. He also went on to talk about Brian Branch, a rookie that we are all very high on. So let's listen to what Alim McNeil had to say about Brian Branch.
And then Brian Branch, just a tremendous rookie year where, you know, it seems like y'all asked him to do a lot. Is that accurate? That he's very versatile is what he comes across as to me.
Yeah, Branch can do it all. He can. That's him. He can do it all. He play in the box. He's outside the box. He's in man coverage. He's picking the ball up with one hand. That's what he do. He's just a baller. That's what he do.
No question, man.
So as you just saw, he talked about Brian Branch being a baller. I mean, he just confirmed what we all believed about Brian Branch. And we also know that Brian Branch was just a rookie. So he's going to do nothing but get better. He's going to do nothing but improve, understand NFL offenses even more, study more film, work on his athleticism, work on his technique, work on his skill set. So we can probably expect big things going forward for Brian Branch. And that's not breaking news or anything, but just to hear his teammates talk about him in the same way is also very, very, very good news. Just to see that his teammates think the same thing about him that we do. And they know exactly what he is and who he is and what he brings to the table. So that's always good to see. And then he went on to talk about Jared Goff and the actual playoff game that they played against the Rams, how it was spun in the media and how it actually was. So let's go ahead and look at what he had to say about that.
It's hard to find guys like Jared Goff, and I love hearing, you know, Dan say you're good enough for Detroit this year, because that's a loaded situation, playing his old team. But in 2021, was there a buzz in the building about, hey, this means a lot to this kid? I don't know if he's our quarterback of the future, but he's going to go play his old team today. And you guys came up just short, but do you remember, what were your impressions of kind of seeing Jared go through that year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wasn't even like that, to be honest, and that's what I like about Jared, because Jared don't care. Like, he don't care at all. He moved on about it. He's the Detroit Lion at heart. That's what he'll tell you. Yeah. Even this year, like when we played him in that playoff game, like, you know, the whole thing behind it, he did not care. It was another game. He prepared the same way he did every other game. But I when that year, my rookie year, I thought there would be something like that, because I don't know, that's what I've seen before and stuff, like on the media before I got to the NFL. But it was not like that at all. He did not care. Like, we went into LA. We was gonna go win that game. Just like he probably might have said something after or whatever. Who knows? But I never got that from him.
Yeah. Well,
so we can see they were talking about the 2021 game, and obviously that also happened in the playoffs this year. But as he said he didn't care. He just went in there and played the game. It was just another game to him. So look, we always think as fans, the media always portrays, you know, because the media has to have storylines. It's like the WWE, right? So we always think that that's something And with a lot of people, it is. I know I actually went to 2 different high schools, and I played my former high school once with my, the second high school that I went to. It was a big game to me. I felt like it was a big game. I felt like I had to show them some things. Like I didn't have an opportunity to start as a running back there because they had someone else and I was a freshman. And then after my freshman year, I went to the other school. So, coming back playing against them, it was a big deal to me. But as a professional football player, you're getting paid. Jared Goff is a Lion at heart. That's what he'll tell you. So he didn't really care about all of the hype. So he went out there and he performed admirably in that game, just like we had hoped that he would. So it wasn't a really big deal to him. So that's good to understand a little bit about Jared Goff's mindset. But he wasn't concerned. He didn't let the moment get too big for him. And we can see how he played in that game, that the moment wasn't really all that big. We're talking about the playoff game, because that one's the one that's important. The 2021 game wasn't really all that important. But the playoff game, he did his thing. And the city had his back, and he came through for us. So that was really, really good to see and to get a little bit of insight about how that thing took place. Then he went on to talk about the offensive line and what it is like to play against them. So let's go ahead and look at what he has to say about playing against the Lions O-line.
They're disciplined.
Yeah.
They're very disciplined. They're not going to get too far out of their framework. They're not going to sell you short. They're going to give you exactly what the play is called to do, and they're going to do that, and they're going to execute it.
Yeah.
I've never seen them not execute it. So somebody might have to make it like a crazy play, because everything that, even going against them in practice, is like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. They're very disciplined. They're going to get that block. They're going to get there. But if you're going to get no extension on, if you don't strike them, they're going to get you up out the way too.
The coach, Big Hank.
So as we could see, Alim McNeil was like, it doesn't even matter. They're going to tell you what they're going to do to you, and they're still going to execute it in practice. They're very, very disciplined. They're very well coached. So it's just a bunch of dogs, man. Like, there's a lot of dogs in the Detroit Lions organization on this roster, and we just keep talking about grit and grit culture and what that means, and Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes guys. Like, it's just a bunch of dogs, man. A bunch of dogs that love football, that don't care about anything else but football. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be highly disciplined. They're going to know how to do the little things. They're going to focus on those things, and they're just going to produce on the field. And that's what we have seen gradually over these last 3 years. And that was how we got to the NFC Championship game. We know that it all fell apart in the second half of the NFC Championship game, but those types of traits are what you want to have in a football team going forward, here and now and in the future, man. So let's just hope that they keep all of these things up. Then he went on to talk about Dan Campbell, and let's listen to what he had to say about head coach Dan Campbell.
But Dan, the ultimate player, I mean, he's not a player's coach from the outside looking in a way that he, people say player's coach, they think easy. I know Dan works y'all, but if you have the respect of the team and they feel connected to you, you can ask them to go to the end of the earth. And I feel like that's what you and Dan have, where if Dan asks y'all to do something, you trust him. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I have no reason not to. 100%. He's never gave me a reason not to trust him ever.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
He's not going to lead us. He's not going to lead us into the wrong path.
Yeah.
He's not.
And that's.
So he talked about Sam Laporta, and he's just talking about, Chris Long is very high on him. If like in the playoffs, he was saying that Laporta was at least a top 3 tight end in the NFL. So he went on to talk about how he believes that, for the next 5 years, it's going to be Sam Laporta at the top of the food chain. And Alim McNeil went ahead to agree with him. But let's see what he had to say about Hendon Hooker, because it was a very interesting situation.
Hey, how does Hendon Hooker look like? I feel like nobody gets to talk about him because there's obviously a franchise quarterback in the building, and there was a time when people were like, "Oh, maybe we'd see him." We're not going to see him, but like, how's a guy like that doing? Like, you guys watch him in practice every day. Do you like the way he operates?
Yeah. Hendon, he's doing well. He's doing very good. I get along with Hendon obviously because he's from here. He's from North Carolina.
Is he?
Greensboro. Yeah. He's from Greensboro. About an hour, if that, from here.
Yeah.
From Raleigh. So. Yeah, we got that connection there, but Hendon's doing good. He was at practice. He was our scouting quarterback.
Yeah.
His arm was smooth as butter.
He's got a smooth delivery.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. His arm is strong too. He got a strong arm.
And we don't get to see it because we don't get to see practice tape. You don't get to see it until the preseason. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, y'all are gonna see it.
Yeah,
you're gonna see it.
Yeah,
and I know he's working right now. I know he's working.
Yeah.
So, for all of the golf haters out there, because golf still has some haters. Obviously, that's some news that you want to hear. Hendon Hooker is out there doing his thing. He's looking good. His arm is smooth as butter. It's strong. His release is crazy. But those are things that like excited us about Hendon Hooker before anyway, and his ability to run and be mobile, to move around. So as you heard him say, we're definitely going to see it. We're definitely going to see it in the preseason. So let's just hope that we have a good one, and then let's let the contract talks with Jared Goff be what they may and all these things. But let's just hope that we have a capable guy that can step in and be that quarterback if anything were to happen to Jared Goff, or if Jared Goff were no longer on the team for whatever reason, man. But I'm not going to stoke any flames or start any fires here. What he said was what he said. Yeah, and I thought it was pretty interesting because we don't really get to hear too much about Hendon Hooker, so it was a good sign to be able to hear that. All right, and then finally, we are going to talk about what he had to say about the rival.
For Detroit, though, honestly, it's Green Bay.
Yeah.
I really feel like it's Green Bay.
But man,
we always have the most like insane battles with them. And then now it's like how both our teams are, kind of going. And then the competition level is about to raise between that game. It's about to be a really good game now.
Dude, the two games this year couldn't be any different. It was like y'all punched them out there, then they punched y'all in the mouth, and it was like, man, this division is going to be fun because that Jordan Love can spin it.
Telling you,
he's pretty.
The NFC North is going to take off. I'm telling you, we're going to be the top division.
Hey,
all right. So you see what he had to say about the rivalry. The question basically was, at NC State, who did you hate? Because that's where he went to college. And in the NFL, who do you hate? And obviously, he said it was the Green Bay Packers, who is the true divisional rival for the Detroit Lions. And he said the Green Bay Packers. He also gave praise, or agreed with the praise that was given to Jordan Love. So, take heart. He's not a bum. He's not considered to be a bum in NFL circles. He's considered to be an up-and-coming, rising, I don't want to say star, but he's a very good quarterback. Star gets thrown around a little bit too loosely. So a lot of people are like mad. It's like, we lost to freaking Jordan Love. Like, relax. He's not bad. He's actually pretty good. He's getting the respect day by day, game by game, of the other people around the league. So but again, Alim McNeil, confirmed dog, not afraid to call his shot, not afraid to talk a little bit of smack, not afraid to tell you we hate you. And that's what the rivalry is. He didn't shy away from it, but he also was respectful about it. But we can see, man, we all have eyes. We can see that this division, the NFC North, might be the top division. We've got the moves that Chicago has made. I know they're trying to buy a team and all these other things, but Caleb Williams was looking real good at his pro day the other day. And man, it's gonna be a battle. JJ McCarthy might be here. He looked good at his pro day. Whatever the concerns and the questions are about, can he make the outside throws? I guess we'll see. Is it a good situation for him to go to Minnesota and just be the guy from day one? Should he sit behind someone else? we'll see. But again, I ain't afraid of no rookies. We got 2 rookie quarterbacks that are coming into the NFC North. So at least for next year, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. The main threat to us is Green Bay. But that is what we wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to go see the whole podcast, go check out Greenlight with Chris Long. It is the podcast that just went up yesterday, so it is available. As always, subscribe, share, smash the like button like it did something to you. You already know you have a personal vendetta against the like button. And be the type of friend that tells another friend. Let other friends know what you are seeing here. Let them know about the experience that you're having in this kitchen. And as always, until next time, peace.